Hey, what's up, everybody? True Boxing, thank you for coming back to get hit with the truth. So today I'm going to do the what's next on the reigning WBO super featherweight champion at 130 pounds, Jamel Herring, coming off his biggest win of his career, 6th round knockout win over Carl Frampton, the former 2-division world champion, as they competed on April 3rd, when they main evented an ESPN Plus card. I mean, that one was a little surprising. It was surprising, but then it wasn't at the same time, because I felt Frampton was too small for 130 to begin with. Herring's got good size to him, and I wasn't surprised that he was able to finish Frampton. I just thought it was going to come later, because Herring's not a big power puncher, but man, he looked fully trained and ready to go, and he took advantage of this huge opportunity against a former 2-division champion and a pretty good name in Carl Frampton, and he laid him out in the 6th round, knocked him out clean, just beat him up, and it was just a very, very good performance. Like I said, the best of his career. So what does he do now? The big question is, what's next for Jamel Herring? Well, prior to the fight, he had been saying that, first off, the number one contender is Shakur Stevenson in the WBO. He's a former champ at 126, former Olympian. They actually trained together. Him and Herring actually trained together. So, there was a lot of speculation, would these two guys fight? And there was a little bit of yes and then more no, that they would not want to fight each other, but they would if they had to. Well, Stevenson was ordered to fight the winner. That was a few months ago. And then Herring started saying that he doesn't think fighting Stevenson next would be a good idea. He wants to wait. And the thing is if he wants to hold on to the WBO title, he has no choice but to fight Stevenson next, because the WBO has given him 30 days to decide. And all we've been hearing since from Herring is that he's gonna fight. He would rather fight Oscar Valdez next. So, I don't think the WBO is gonna allow him to do that to unify belts. So, I really don't know what's gonna happen. So let's run through the top 10 and take a look at what could possibly be next for Jamel Herring, and we'll discuss the option of moving up after we're done with the top 10. We start with number 1 in the division, and that currently is the undefeated WBC champion, Oscar Valdez. Well, Valdez knocked out Miguel Burchell in his last one. He was the number 1 contender. He has an optional defense to make, and I really think there's the possibility that Herring gives up the WBO belt and goes after Valdez. It's an easy fight to make. They're both with top rank, and they can get the fight done. So, will they get the fight done? That's the big question. At this point, I really don't know, but I think there is a good chance that this fight does get made between these two. And I would like to see it. I would rather see it to unify belts, but I don't think the WBO is going to allow Herring, and I really think Herring is dead set on fighting Valdez or moving up in weight before he has to fight Stevenson. So, I'm going to say this fight does have some legs to it, and it could very well happen. We'll see. Next, at number 2 in the division, is the undefeated WBA super champion, Javonte Davis. I highly doubt this fight is possible. One, it's top rank working with Mayweather Promotions and the PBC. I doubt they would do that. But the other reason is because Davis looks like he's moving up to 140 in his next fight, although that's not 100% confirmed. So, either way, I don't see this one happening next for Herring, so I'm going to say no. Now, number 3 is the former WBC champion, Miguel Burchell. I doubt it. Burchell would not want to come back after getting knocked out cold against Valdez and take on a guy of Herring's talent. Plus, there would be no belt on the line because Herring's been ordered to fight Stevenson with the WBO. So, they're both, it's an easy fight to make, but I don't think it gets made, so I'm going to say no. Number 4 now, Jamel Herring has moved to number 4 for me. Number 5 is Joseph Diaz Jr., the former IBF champion. I don't see this one. Diaz is trying to get himself back in the mix after being stripped of his belt. He's not fighting for that belt next. The IBF made that clear. He's not in line to fight for that belt. So I think Diaz is just going to try to reestablish himself and probably go with a more makeable fight on the zone. So probably face like a Golden Boy opponent, you know. So I don't see these two sides getting together. And right now, it wouldn't be a good move for Herring because Herring is, I mean, it'd be a good move, but it wouldn't be for a title. So Herring, after that win, should be fighting for world titles. That's just it. So Diaz is number 5. Number 6 is Leo Santa Cruz, the former WBA super champion. No, PBC is not going to work with Top Rank on this one, so no chance of that one. Plus, Santa Cruz wouldn't take that fight anyways, coming off of that brutal knockout loss to Davis last October. Number 7 is, let me see here, it's Shavkat Rakhimov, the undefeated number 1 contender in the IBF. Well, he's in line to fight Kenichi Ogawa, I believe, for the vacant IBF title. So him and Herring are not going to happen anytime soon. Number 8 now is WBA regular champion Roger Gutierrez. I'm sorry. He's number 7 or 8 right now. I think he's number 8. And I don't think this fight's possible. I mean, well, even if it was, why would Herring fight Gutierrez when Gutierrez only holds a regular belt? That wouldn't make a lot of sense. I think Golden Boy is going to get together and have Gutierrez fight Joseph Diaz or fight Alvarado in a third fight, so I don't see it. Speaking of Alvarado, he's number 9 at 130, and you know, he suffered that tough, close decision loss to Gutierrez in a rematch where he lost the WBA regular belt. I really think he's going to fight either Joseph Diaz or fight Gutierrez in a third fight next. So that's what I believe. I don't think Herring's on the horizon. And then we have a tie towards the back. I got Tevin Farmer, and I also have Shakur Stevenson there. Tevin Farmer, that fight is just, that's ESPN Top Rank working with Eddie Hearn and Matchroom, Battle of Southpaws, and it wouldn't be for a world title. I don't see it. Plus, I heard Farmer's talking about moving up to 135 anyways. And then you have Shakur Stevenson, and I mean, the fight's there if Herring wants it, and you know, it's the mandatory fight, but I don't think Herring wants it, but we're going to see what he decides to do. So the other option for Herring is moving up to 135. That might be what he does, because after Teofimo Lopez is done with George Kambosos in June, early June, you know, we don't know if we're going to see Lopez want to move up and take on the undisputed champion at 140 between Taylor and Jose Ramirez, because they're fighting on May 22nd. Does Lopez want to stay down? What's the issue with Top Rank and his contract? You know, there's a lot of things swirling right there, and Herring could move up and demand a mandatory shot against Lopez or for the WBO title, because he's a WBO champion at 130. So he can move up and automatically become the number 1 contender. That's the rule. Will he do that? I'm not sure yet. It really is up in the air. We really don't know if Herring wants to do that. But I do think that's a real possibility outside of fighting Shakur Stevenson. So his 3 best options are options that are likely. I think him dropping the title and fighting Oscar Valdez is very, very likely next. I think that's probably the most likely of the scenarios. Number 2 is moving up to 135 and positioning himself to fight Teofimo Lopez or fight for the vacant WBO belt at 135. I do think that's a strong possibility too. And then number 3 would be to fight Shakur Stevenson. You know, make a mandatory fight his friend, somebody he trains with. But I really think he's going to try to avoid that at all costs. He has 2 options here. Personally, I don't feel he beats Oscar Valdez for the WBC belt, but that's his best opportunity. I think he has a better opportunity beating him than Stevenson. So there's that. I absolutely don't think he beats Stevenson. And 135, it depends on who he fights, but he's not a big power guy. Maybe he can carry power up to 135, but we'll see. So Jamel Herring, great win over Carl Frampton, but he has about 3.5 weeks here to decide what he's going to do after that win, as the WBO has put a clock on him to make that mandatory defense. So we'll see what happens. But that's it. That's the what's next on the WBO super featherweight champion at 130 pounds, Jamel Herring. I hope you guys enjoyed it. True Boxing, you've been hit with the truth.